Today I'm going to show you how to replace bearings in a shaft. The bearings out of this pulley right here were taken out. They went bad. They were rumbling and making a lot of really loud noise, and I caught it before the bearings actually disintegrated. They were inside on this shaft, and the way it's set up bearing. It's set up bearing, spacer, bearing. Bearing on the inside, spacer, and bearing on the outside, with this shaft driven through all three. And I didn't get the process of taking these out of here, but that's a video by itself. To get pressed bearings out of a housing like this, it takes a little bit of uniqueness to try to master that, and you might have to have a machine shop and some tools that you don't have around home. I'm going to get our camera set up on the vise here so that you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the first bearing in. I've already cleaned out the inside of this and wiped it down real good. Check for any burrs or anything like this. Same thing with this shaft. You want to check the shaft and make sure there's no burrs or anything on it. Don't want to beat on it if you absolutely don't have to. Don't hit that shaft because you're going to nick it, burr it. So just get this bearing started on here. We got it on. Now I'm going to press it all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to have to use the vise to get our right size and drive it on in. And we want to get as close to that inside bearing as we can without getting on the and I'm through there, so now turn it a little bit to not keep hitting the same spot. It's a tight drive, and it's going to drive on. Now if you had a press, you could press it on. In this case I don't have a press, so I'm having to manually hammer it on. And so okay, so got the bearing completely on. Now there's a spacer that goes in the middle. This is our spacer. This needs to go on next, and it'll slide right onto our shaft, but once we get it inside the housing, it will not be very easy to. So it's on. So that's bearing and spacer. Now the a little bit more difficult part, we're going to drive it down into the housing of this pulley. And we don't want to bend the pulley when we drive it back down, so we're going to open it up, and luckily you're going to sit it where you can drive it in, hopefully without messing up anything. I'm just going to get it started by tapping on it a little bit around the edge, and it's it's starting to go in. Alright, so it's in. Now I'm going to take my little chisel and I'm gonna drive it on in. Let me see if I can drive it in any. Doesn't want to go. So I just tack it on one side and on the other. And it's going down nice and slow and easy. Just like we want it. Let's go one side, then the other. And the only thing we'll have to do is just watch and make sure when we get close to the end. See, we're getting, this is going to stick out just a little bit when we get done. Because it's going to stick out a little bit. Alright, come out of there. And you can look at it to see where it's uneven, to see which side you need to tap down a little bit. And just put your, I'm using a flat chisel, not using a point, just using a flat chisel. And all I'm going to do is drive this on till it gets nice and tight. Okay. Now, see, it's come out, but it's not, I don't think it's seated all the way down. We're going to check it one more time to make sure that it is. So, it looks like it's seated in there pretty good. So now I'm going to get my other new bearing and we're going to put it on. And this one, we're just going to drive it straight on from the top. I'm just going to tack it on. It's got to go on the inside and the outside. So that's why we have to put it on last. Now, I'm going to take my chisel again with this one. I need to get it nice and flat. So I can take a piece of pipe like this and drive it down in the middle, which that's nice and flush. If you can see that, this is nice and flush right here. And I can't see my snap ring hole. Snap ring goes right in the edge of this lip right here. So we're going to put a snap ring in there. So I'm going to have to take the chisel again, if I can find it, and we're going to tack this one down a little bit to make sure it's all the way down as far as it can go. Okay. I can see the snap ring. I can see the snap ring hole clearly.